The alien queen asked why I was running away from her daughter. My answer left her breathless. The twin suns of Zythera hung low in the sky, casting long shadows over the crystal forests that stretched as far as the eye could see. The light shimmered off the towering flora, making the entire landscape look like it was alive, glowing, and breathing. Captain Elias Arden, a human explorer from Earth, stood at the edge of a wide, sparkling river that cut through the forest like a vein of liquid glass. He had never seen anything like this in his life. Zythera had been a mystery for decades. Humans had heard rumors of its intelligent life, of beings with psychic abilities far beyond human comprehension. When Elias' mission to explore uncharted worlds brought him here, he expected danger, curiosity, and perhaps a chance to learn. What he hadn't expected was beauty that felt almost magical, and a power that made him question everything he thought he knew about life in the universe. Elias adjusted the straps of his exploration pack and checked his scanner. It blinked green, indicating no immediate threats. Still, the hairs on the back of his neck stood up. There was something in the air here, a strange energy that made his mind feel both heavy and alert. He breathed deeply, trying to calm himself, but the feeling wouldn't go away. He moved carefully along the riverbank, stepping on smooth stones that glowed faintly under the alien sunlight. The forest around him seemed alive, reacting to his presence. Leaves rustled even when there was no wind. Tiny lights darted between the branches like miniature stars. Elias had read about psychic flora before, plants that could sense thought and emotion, but seeing it firsthand was something else entirely. Then, just as he rounded a bend in the river, he saw it. A figure standing on a large crystal platform, bathed in sunlight, with an aura that seemed to radiate power. She was tall, graceful, and unlike any human. Her skin shimmered faintly, like polished opal, and her eyes glowed softly with colors that shifted like liquid. This had to be one of Zythera's ruling class. The tales he had heard mentioned their psychic abilities and their royal hierarchy. But seeing her in person was overwhelming. Elias froze, his mind racing. Do I approach? Do I hide? Before he could decide, movement caught his eye. Another figure, smaller and younger, leaped from behind the crystal platform. She moved with incredible speed, almost as if she were floating. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her eyes burned with an intensity that Elias couldn't look away from. She was Princess Lyra, the daughter of the queen. He remembered the reports. She was powerful, even for Zythera standards, capable of controlling elements with her mind. Elias realized with a jolt of fear and admiration that she was coming straight toward him. He didn't run because he was scared of her personally. He ran because he knew how dangerous she could be. Humans were fragile compared to Zythera's people, and one wrong move could be fatal. Heart-pounding, he sprinted through the glowing crystal underbrush, trying to stay on stable ground. Lyra followed easily, her steps silent, her movements swift. Yet she didn't look angry, she looked curious. Every so often, she would pause, tilting her head, and Elias could swear she was trying to understand him. But he couldn't stop. His lungs burned and his legs ached, but the instinct to survive overrode everything. "Wait!" a voice called suddenly. It was calm, strong, and authoritative. Elias skidded to a halt. Ahead of him stood a figure larger than Lyra, radiating power even more intense. Queen Aerolith. Her presence was commanding, regal, yet not threatening. She raised a hand slightly, and Elias felt an invisible force wash over him. Not harmful, but like a gentle pressure reminding him that she could end this chase in an instant if she wanted. "You are running from my daughter," the queen said, her voice echoing in the crystal forest. There was no anger in it, only curiosity. "Why?" Elias swallowed hard. He had expected fear, punishment, or a command to surrender. But this was different. She wasn't scolding him. She was asking. He took a deep breath. "I'm not running because I fear her," he said, keeping his voice steady. "I'm running because I respect her power. Humans, we're small and fragile. We survive in ways that are not always direct. I needed time to understand her, to understand you, before I could face you both properly." The queen's eyes narrowed slightly, but her expression didn't harden. Instead, she seemed intrigued. Elias had spoken honestly, without begging, without trying to impress her. He had shown respect, and in doing so, he had done something humans were not known for in the presence of such overwhelming power. He had maintained dignity. Lyra stopped behind her mother, her glowing eyes fixed on Elias. There was a spark of amusement there, a tiny smile forming on her lips. Elias noticed it even as he caught his breath, trying to steady his racing heart. Queen Aerolith stepped closer, her every movement graceful and deliberate. "Most humans would cower," she said softly. "They would either flee blindly or plead for mercy. But you," her voice trailed, thoughtful, "you run, but not in fear. You run to prepare yourself." "Why?" Elias met her gaze, holding it firmly. "Because to face someone like your daughter, without understanding what she can do, without knowing her, would be foolish. I may be fragile, but I am not reckless. Humans survive because we think, adapt, and act in ways that are often unexpected." The queen blinked, almost imperceptibly. Elias could see her considering his words, turning them over in her mind. Lyra, still behind her mother, shifted slightly, stepping closer as if drawn to this human who dared speak truth to power without flinching. "You speak of human strength," the queen said slowly. "Yet strength is not only in courage nor in wit. You are young among your species. How can you be sure you are worthy of speaking to us at all?" Elias hesitated, then chose his words carefully. "I am not the strongest nor the fastest. I do not have the psychic abilities that your daughter possesses, but humans have survived in the universe for thousands of years. We have faced predators, disasters, and challenges far greater than what I see here, and we survive by thinking, by adapting, by acting even when everything seems impossible. That is my strength." A silence fell over the glowing forest. The air seemed to thrum with the energy of the queen and her daughter. Elias expected the next moment to be violent, a psychic strike, or at the very least, a test of his words. But instead, nothing happened. The queen simply regarded him, her expression unreadable, yet her aura no longer pressed upon him. Lyra, younger and less restrained than her mother, stepped forward. "Most humans are afraid of me," she said quietly, almost to herself. You are not afraid." Elias nodded. "I respect what I do not understand. That is not fear, it is caution. And caution combined with courage has kept humans alive for a long time." The princess's gaze softened, her intense energy dimming slightly. She tilted her head, studying him as if trying to see inside his mind, to understand the core of this strange species she had always underestimated. Queen Aerolith finally spoke again, her voice carrying both authority and curiosity. "You are clever, human. Most would run blindly. Most would scream, but you run to survive with your mind intact. This is unusual." Elias felt a small measure of relief. He had survived the encounter, but more importantly, he had earned a fragment of their respect. It was small, yes, but enough to know he had not made a fatal mistake. The queen gestured to the surroundings, to the crystal forest that stretched endlessly around them. "Then you will walk with us, not as a captive, but as one who seeks understanding. Perhaps your human way of thinking has merit after all." Elias blinked. "I thank you, your majesty." Lyra stepped closer, a spark of playful curiosity in her eyes. "Do not think this makes you safe," she said, her voice light but carrying the weight of her power. "You will need to prove your worth, not just to me, but to all who watch over this planet." Elias nodded, understanding the challenge implicit in her words. He had survived the first encounter, yes, but the true test was just beginning. His mind raced with anticipation and strategy. Humans were fragile, but humans were also clever, resourceful, and unpredictable. Perhaps, he thought, that was exactly what Zythera had not counted on. As the sun dipped further, casting longer shadows over the glowing forest, Elias walked alongside the queen and her daughter, not as a prisoner, but as a student of their world. Every step was filled with tension and wonder, with fear and excitement, and with the unshakable knowledge that the journey ahead would test him in ways he had never imagined. For the first time in his life, Elias Arden realized that survival was not just about strength. It was about understanding, respect, and the courage to face the unknown. And so, the chase had ended, but the real adventure was only beginning. The crystal forest of Zythera seemed even more alive as Elias Arden walked beside Queen Aerolith and Princess Lyra. Every leaf shimmered with colors that changed depending on the angle of the twin suns. Tiny lights like fireflies flickered between the branches, as if the forest itself was watching them, waiting for something to happen. Elias' heart still raced from the earlier chase, but now, curiosity began to replace fear. "Do you see this forest often?" Elias asked cautiously, glancing at Lyra. She walked silently beside him, her eyes scanning the glowing plants around them. Lyra's lips curved in a small, amused smile. "I see it every day," she said softly, "but it never looks the same twice." Zythera adapts. The forests change with the people who walk through them. Elias nodded slowly. It feels alive, almost like it can think. Queen Aerolith glanced at him, her expression unreadable. It can. Not like humans think, but in its own way, the planet responds to life, to energy, to emotion. You may have felt it earlier, the pressure, the awareness. That was Zythera noticing you. Elias shivered at the memory. The first time he had stepped into the crystal forest, it had been like walking into another world, one where even the air carried intelligence. Every step he had taken seemed observed. Now, walking beside the queen and her daughter, he realized how fragile humans truly were in comparison. Yet he also knew something that most creatures, even powerful ones like Lyra, did not fully understand. Humans survived by thinking differently, by seeing possibilities where others saw limits. Queen Aerolith's voice broke into his thoughts. You run from my daughter, and yet you claim not to fear her. Do you truly understand her abilities, human? Elias took a deep breath, choosing his words carefully. I do not fully understand her power, but I understand the consequences of underestimating it. Humans survive by understanding enough to act wisely, even when we cannot control everything. The queen paused, her eyes studying him like a mathematician analyzing a complex equation. Most humans would lie. Most humans would plead, beg, or freeze. You speak with honesty, and yet you speak with pride. Why? Elias looked at her directly. Because pride and fear are not the same. I respect your daughter, I respect you. But I also respect my own species. Humans survive because we think, adapt, and face challenges with what we have. That is what I bring to this encounter. Lyra's eyes widened slightly, her curiosity deepening. You humans, you are strange. You are so fragile yet so bold. You run, yet you speak truth to power. That is not common in your kind. Elias allowed himself a small, cautious smile. Maybe that is what makes us dangerous to others, not our strength but our unpredictability. The queen seemed to consider this carefully. Unpredictability, yes, that may explain why humans endure where others would fail, but words are not proof. Actions are. Elias nodded. Then I am ready to prove myself if given the chance. Aerolith's expression softened slightly. Very well. You will not be punished for your flight, but you will be tested. You will face trials, human, to see if your mind, courage, and adaptability match your words. Only then will you earn the respect of my daughter and mine. Elias felt a mixture of fear and excitement. He had survived the initial encounter, but now he faced something far greater. He realized that this test would not be physical alone. It would challenge his mind, his patience, and his humanity. And perhaps, if he succeeded, it would change how the Zytherans saw humans forever. Lyra's gaze lingered on him. Do not think these tests will be easy. Most cannot endure one. Fewer survive all three. Elias straightened his back. Then I will do my best. That is all any human can promise. The queen led them to a vast clearing where the crystal trees formed a natural arena. At its center was a large, translucent structure shaped like a spiraling tower of light. Energy flowed around it like liquid, shifting and twisting with every movement. This, Elias realized, was the first trial. This is the labyrinth of reflection, Aerolith said. It tests perception, logic, and courage. Many who enter lose themselves. Few emerge unchanged. You must navigate it, human, without losing your mind to fear or illusion. Elias studied the tower carefully. Its surface shimmered, reflecting his image back at him. But the reflections were not exact. They moved differently, showing him images of himself as a child, as a soldier, and even as someone who had failed in past missions. It was disorienting, like seeing every possible version of himself at once. Remember, Lyra said softly, this is not about speed, it is about awareness. The labyrinth responds to thought, fear feeds it, confidence may guide you. Elias nodded, taking a deep breath. He stepped forward, his boots clicking softly on the crystal floor. Immediately the world shifted. Paths that seemed solid disappeared. Hallways twisted impossibly. His own reflection stepped forward and spoke in his voice, repeating doubts and fears. You cannot survive this. You are not strong enough. He clenched his fists, grounding himself. I will not fall for illusions, he muttered. He remembered something his mentor had told him back on Earth. A mind that doubts itself will always lose before it begins. Trust your judgment, even when the world does not make sense. The reflections swirled, shapes twisting into impossible angles, but Elias focused on one step at a time. He trusted his instincts, moving cautiously yet deliberately. He realized the labyrinth was alive, sensing his choices, reacting to his thoughts. Every decision mattered. Hours, or perhaps only minutes, passed in the shifting maze. Elias faced visions of failure, danger, and even his own death. Each time he forced himself to remain calm, reminding himself that survival was not just about strength, but clarity, patience, and adaptability. Finally, he reached the center of the labyrinth where a small pool of clear, glowing liquid shimmered. Stepping carefully, he touched it, and the maze dissolved around him. The world snapped back into the forest clearing. He had survived the first trial. Aerolith observed him, her face impassive, but her eyes reflected something like admiration. "You have completed the labyrinth of reflection," she said. "Few humans could endure its tests. You have shown clarity and courage. But the next trials will test your physical and moral strength as well." Lyra approached him, her steps silent. "I expected fear. Instead, I saw focus. You may not be like others of your kind. Perhaps you are worth observing." Elias allowed himself a small smile. "I only hope I can continue to earn your respect." The queen nodded. "The second trial awaits. You will face the storm of minds, a psychic tempest that tests control, empathy, and the ability to remain calm under pressure. Many enter, few leave without being overwhelmed. You must rely on intellect, not force, to succeed." Elias' stomach tightened. A psychic storm sounded dangerous. He had no psychic abilities, but he reminded himself, humans survive by ingenuity and creativity, not by being the strongest. He had learned to adapt to every challenge his species had faced. Perhaps that would be enough here as well. The queen led him to a large, open plateau where the sky above swirled with iridescent clouds of energy. The storm hummed, vibrating through the ground beneath their feet. Elias could feel it tugging at his mind, whispering doubts, fears, and visions that seemed real. Lyra stood nearby, arms crossed, watching him intently. "Do not resist too hard," she said. "The storm reacts to conflict. Calm your mind, human, and you may pass." Elias closed his eyes, breathing deeply. He focused on what he knew, his mission, his people, and the knowledge that he must not fail. Slowly, the storm's pull lessened. He moved forward step by step, relying on intuition and observation rather than trying to overpower it. The storm lashed at him, visions of Zythera's destruction flashing before his eyes, but he did not panic. Instead, he acknowledged each vision, considered it, and let it pass. He treated the storm like a puzzle, a challenge to be understood rather than defeated. Minutes stretched like hours. Sweat ran down his face, but Elias persisted. Finally, the storm began to calm. Its chaotic energy settled around him, almost as if it were recognizing his resilience. He had passed the second trial. Lyra's eyes widened, a spark of admiration in them. "You are different," she whispered. Queen Aerolith nodded slowly. "You have proven intellect and calm under pressure. Humans are indeed unpredictable. You continue to show that your species possesses strengths that even the powerful may underestimate." Elias' legs shook with exhaustion, but he straightened. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I will face the final trial with the same focus and respect." Aerolith's gaze was steady. "The final trial will test your morality, your insight, and your ability to connect with life beyond your own species. Only those who act with understanding, compassion, and wisdom will succeed. Humans, your journey is far from over." Elias nodded. He knew the hardest challenge was still ahead, but he also knew one truth. Humans survived because they could adapt, understand, and face impossible odds with courage and ingenuity. That would be his guide in the final trial, and perhaps the key to earning the respect of Zythera itself. As the twin suns dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the plateau, Elias felt both fear and determination. He was human. Fragile, yes, but clever, resourceful, and unafraid to face the unknown. And that, he realized, might be enough to survive the trials of Zythera. Elias Arden stood at the edge of the plateau, staring at the vast expanse before him. The twin suns of Zythera had begun to sink toward the horizon, casting long golden shadows across the shimmering crystal plains. The air hummed with a strange, powerful energy, one that pressed against his mind and body simultaneously. He could feel it, a force that was alive, aware, and intelligent. "This is the final trial," Queen Aerolith said, her voice calm but firm. "You will face the heart of Zythera. It is the planet's consciousness. It will test your mind, your courage, and your understanding. Only those who show insight and empathy may succeed." Elias took a deep breath, steadying himself. The first two trials had tested his intellect and his ability to stay calm under pressure. This trial, however, seemed different. It was not merely a test of survival skills or logical thinking. It was a test of his humanity. Could he act wisely when faced with something beyond his comprehension? Could he understand life in a form that was not human and respond with compassion rather than fear? Princess Lyra floated beside her mother, her silver hair glinting in the fading sunlight. Her glowing eyes studied Elia's with curiosity. "Most who enter do not survive this trial," she said quietly. "Many try to fight it, many try to escape it. Few even realize what it wants." Elia swallowed hard. "Then I will not fight it, I will try to understand it." Aerolith inclined her head slightly. "Good, that is the first step. Remember, human strength alone will not save you." Taking another deep breath, Elias stepped forward. Immediately, the ground beneath him shifted. Crystalline formations rose and fell like waves. Colors swirled in the air, forming shapes that seemed alive. He felt a presence entering his mind, probing, testing, seeking to understand him. The heart of Zythera had awakened. Suddenly, Elias was no longer standing on solid ground. He found himself in a strange, endless space, filled with floating crystal shards that reflected every light in the spectrum. Shapes moved in the distance, shapes that looked like both creatures and landscapes, like memories and living thoughts. A deep, resonating voice filled his mind, though it had no mouth, no body. "Human, why do you come?" Elias swallowed, feeling the pressure in his mind. "I come to understand, I come to learn, I come to survive." "Why should I allow you to survive?" the voice asked, echoing through his consciousness. "Your kind is fragile, your kind destroys what it touches, your kind fears what it cannot control." Elias steadied himself, recalling every lesson he had learned as a human, every hardship his species had overcome. Because we survive not only by strength, but by ingenuity, by empathy, by understanding. We have endured because we can see possibilities where others see limits. "I am human, yes, but I do not seek to destroy. I seek to understand." A pulse of energy swept through him, and suddenly visions of Zythera's past appeared before him. He saw the planet's growth, its life forming in ways unlike any human ecosystem. He saw species rising and falling, intelligence developing, civilizations forming and fading. He saw the planet's consciousness reaching out, curious, cautious, protective. "You see our history," the voice said, "and you understand it." Elias nodded, even though he knew the voice could not see gestures. "I do not fully understand it, but I can respect it. I can act wisely, not recklessly. I can adapt. I can learn." The heart of Zythera tested him further. Suddenly, visions of danger appeared, storms tearing through the crystal forests, energy eruptions threatening entire cities, psychic storms tearing apart life. Every vision was vivid, as if it were happening now. Elias could feel the fear and chaos as if it were his own. Yet he did not panic. He focused on what he could do. He studied patterns, noticed details others might miss, and analyzed the visions. Slowly, he realized that the planet was showing him a problem, not to scare him, but to see how he would respond. Many would flee, the voice said. Many would act without thinking. Few would consider the consequences of their actions. Elias squared his shoulders. "I will act wisely. I will seek solutions that preserve life. I will not let fear dictate my choices." As he spoke, the visions began to shift. They no longer depicted destruction alone. They now showed possibilities, ways to prevent harm, ways to guide life safely through chaos. Elias realized that the planet was testing his ability to think beyond himself, to consider not just his own survival, but the survival of others. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed in this strange psychic space. Elias faced challenges that tested every part of him: fear, doubt, uncertainty. Yet with each test, he relied on human strengths that Zythera had not fully anticipated: creativity, empathy, patience, and the courage to act when the outcome was unknown. Finally, a calm descended. The chaotic visions faded, leaving only a warm, glowing light. Elias felt a presence near him, neither hostile nor threatening, but curious, almost like a teacher observing a student. "You have endured," the voice said. "You have acted with understanding, not destruction. You have shown courage without arrogance. You have shown wisdom without knowing all answers. You are different." Elias breathed a sigh of relief, though he remained vigilant. "Thank you," he said softly. "I have learned much from this trial. I hope I have honored your world in my actions." "You have." The presence pulsed warmly. "Your species is fragile yet resilient. Your mind is small, yet your insight is sharp. Few beings could have faced this trial as you have. You may leave with the knowledge that humans are not to be underestimated. Suddenly, Elias found himself back on solid ground, standing on the plateau where the crystal plains stretched to the horizon. Queen Aerolith and Princess Lyra were waiting, their expressions unreadable yet filled with anticipation. "You have done it," Lyra said, her voice almost a whisper. "You have faced the heart of Zythera and survived. Few even approach it willingly. Fewer still endure." Elias' legs shook with exhaustion, but he managed a small smile. "I have tried to do more than survive. I have tried to understand." Queen Aerolith stepped forward, her gaze steady on him. "And you have. You have shown qualities that many of my people did not expect from humans: wisdom, empathy, and courage. You have proven that your species has value beyond its fragility. You are remarkable." Elias felt a flush of pride mixed with humility. "Thank you, Your Majesty." "I am honored by your words." Lyra floated closer, curiosity sparkling in her glowing eyes. "I have watched many beings face the heart of Zythera. None have done so with such clarity. You surprised me. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but perhaps in ways I never imagined." Elias nodded. "We are fragile, yes, but we adapt. We learn. We face challenges not because we are strong, but because we have no other choice. And sometimes that is enough." The queen inclined her head slightly, as if acknowledging his words. "Indeed. It seems your species has a resilience that even the powerful sometimes overlook. You have earned the respect of Zythera." Lyra's expression softened further. "You have not only survived, human, you have taught me something. That courage and insight do not come from strength alone. Perhaps humans are stronger than we give them credit for." Elias allowed himself a moment to breathe fully, the tension finally leaving his body. For hours, he had faced challenges that tested his mind, his courage, and his understanding. He had confronted a being beyond comprehension and emerged with insight and respect. And in doing so, he had begun to change the way Zythera viewed humanity. Queen Aerolith's voice broke the silence. "You have one final choice, human. You may leave this place with the knowledge you have gained, returning to your people, or you may stay and learn further. The heart of Zythera has shown that you have potential. It is up to you to decide how to use it." Elias considered the offer carefully. His mission was to explore, to survive, and to learn. But he also understood that this planet, this people, had given him something far greater than knowledge. They had given him an opportunity to prove the worth of humanity. "I will stay," he said finally. "There is more to learn here. And if I can show that humans are more than what others expect, then it will be worth it." Lyra's eyes widened slightly, a spark of approval in them. "You are bold," she said softly. "Boldness is not always wise, but sometimes it changes everything." Queen Aerolith nodded slowly. "Then so be it. You will continue to walk among us, human, not as a weak species, but as one whose strength lies in insight, courage, and understanding. This is the true lesson of Zythera." As the twin suns finally dipped below the horizon, casting the crystal plains in shades of violet and gold, Elias felt a sense of accomplishment he had never known. He had faced unimaginable challenges, survived trials that few could endure, and earned the respect of beings far beyond human comprehension. And he knew in that moment that humanity's greatest strength was not its power, its technology, or its weapons, but its courage, its adaptability, and its capacity for understanding. The path ahead would be difficult, yes, but Elias was ready. Humans were fragile, yes, but they were unpredictable, resourceful, and capable of rising to challenges no one else could face. And that was a strength even the heart of Zythera could not ignore. The crystal plains of Zythera glimmered in the fading light of the twin suns. Elias Arden walked beside Queen Aerolith and Princess Lyra, his steps steady despite the exhaustion from the trials. Each crystal beneath his boots hummed faintly, a soft vibration that seemed to echo the heartbeat of the planet itself. He had survived the labyrinth of reflection, endured the storm of minds, and confronted the heart of Zythera. And now he returned to the palace, not as a frightened human, but as someone who had begun to earn the respect of a civilization far more advanced and powerful than his own. Princess Lyra floated silently beside him, her silver hair catching the last rays of sunlight. Her glowing eyes reflected a mixture of curiosity and admiration, though she said nothing at first. Elias stole glances at her, sensing that the young princess was studying him as intently as he had studied the planet's trials. You have changed, human, Lyra said finally, her voice soft but steady. Most who face the heart of Zythera are broken or lost. You are stronger than I imagined. Elias smiled faintly. Stronger? No, I'm just human. I survived because I had to. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and keeping courage when everything seems impossible. That is all. Lyra tilted her head, her expression thoughtful. It is more than that. It is your way of thinking, your calm, your insight. Humans are unpredictable. Perhaps that is your greatest strength. Queen Aerolith spoke, her voice steady and commanding. You have endured more than most beings of your kind. You have not only survived, human, you have understood, and that is why you have come this far. Your species is fragile, yes, but resilience, insight, and courage make you worthy of respect. Elias felt a flush of pride mixed with humility. He bowed slightly. I am honored by your words, your majesty. I have done only what I could to act wisely and respectfully. The queen studied him carefully. Respect is earned through actions, not words. You have earned it today, but there is one final step. You must demonstrate that your insight can create harmony, not just survival. You must show empathy, understanding, and connection with life beyond your own. Elias nodded, understanding what she meant. The trials had tested him individually, but now the final step required more than survival. It required leadership, diplomacy, and compassion. He had been trained as a soldier and explorer, but this was unlike anything he had faced before. The queen led them to a vast garden within the palace, a place where Zythera's flora grew in incredible formations. Bioluminescent flowers swayed gently, casting colorful reflections on the crystalline walkways. Pools of clear water reflected the glowing plants, and strange, delicate creatures darted between the flowers. The garden seemed alive, more vivid and conscious than anything Elias had seen so far. This is the Garden of Harmony, Aerolith said. Here, life of all forms coexists. Your task is simple in appearance but complex in practice. You must navigate the garden, interact with its inhabitants, and restore balance where necessary. Use your judgment wisely, human. Elias stepped carefully, observing everything around him. A small creature, no bigger than his hand, scuttled across a glowing flower. Its movements were erratic, frightened by the presence of intruders. Elias crouched and spoke softly, using gentle tones rather than force. It's okay. I mean no harm. The creature paused, tilting its head, then continued safely on its path. Lyra watched, her eyes reflecting surprise. You do not threaten it, you do not try to control it, you guide it. That is human, clever. Elias nodded. Humans survive because we understand the consequences of our actions. Life is valuable. We must respect it even if we are fragile. As he moved deeper into the garden, the challenges became more complex. Streams of energy flowed unpredictably through the plants, threatening to disturb the delicate balance. Elias observed patterns, predicting movements, and adjusted his actions carefully. Each step required awareness, focus, and care. He had survived chaos before, but this was a lesson in subtlety, how small actions could ripple across an ecosystem and affect countless lives. Suddenly, a larger creature emerged from a glowing bush. Its body was massive, covered in translucent scales that reflected the light like a prism. It was frightened and agitated, thrashing as its presence threatened the delicate plants around it. Elias froze for a moment, considering his options. He could run or try to force it away, but he remembered the lessons of the trials. Brute force was never the answer. Instead, he spoke softly, using calm tones and careful gestures. Easy, I will not hurt you. Slowly, the creature's movements eased. Elias mirrored its motions, showing patience, understanding, and care. Gradually, the creature calmed, stepping aside and allowing the garden to remain undisturbed. Lyra floated closer, her eyes wide. You do not control it, you do not fight it, you understand it. That is something few of my people can do, Elias smiled faintly. Understanding is different from power. Strength is not always in force. Sometimes the greatest strength is patience, care, and insight. Queen Aerolith's eyes glimmered with approval. You are learning the final lesson, human. Empathy, understanding, and respect for life beyond yourself. These are qualities that define true strength, even among the powerful. Hours passed as Elias continued through the Garden of Harmony. Every challenge required observation, judgment, and careful action. He guided creatures, balanced energy flows, and repaired disturbances in the ecosystem. Each step tested his patience, his moral judgment, and his ability to act without fear or arrogance. At last he reached the center of the garden. There a crystalline pool reflected the twin suns above, glowing with a warm, golden light. Around it, plants and creatures gathered peacefully, as if waiting for something. Elias knelt beside the pool, feeling the energy of the garden pulse beneath him. "You have succeeded," Queen Aerolith said. Her voice was calm but filled with power. "Not because you are the strongest, nor because you are fast, nor because you possess psychic abilities. You have succeeded because you understand, because you act with insight, empathy, and respect. You have demonstrated that even a fragile species like yours can rise to challenges beyond comprehension." Elias looked up, meeting the Queen's gaze. "Thank you. I have tried to honor your world and your people with every step I have taken. I hope I have shown that humans are not weak. They are different, unpredictable but capable of great understanding." Lyra floated closer, her silver hair shimmering in the golden light. Her glowing eyes softened, admiration clear in her expression. "You have surprised me, human. I expected fear, hesitation, weakness. Instead, you have shown courage, wisdom, and insight. Perhaps humans are stronger than I believed." Elias allowed himself a small smile. "We survive because we adapt, we think, we act even when we cannot control everything. That is what makes us strong, not in the way you measure strength, but in ways that matter." The Queen nodded. "Your words are true. Humans are fragile, yes, but their minds, their hearts, and their courage can surpass even the strongest of powers. You have proven this today." Elias felt a deep sense of accomplishment, but also humility. He had faced trials that few could endure, yet he knew there was still much to learn. Zythera was a world unlike any other, and its people were unlike any he had known. And yet in this moment he felt a connection, a recognition that humanity could earn respect, even among beings far more powerful. Lyra studied him silently for a long moment. "I want to learn from you," she said finally. "Not because I doubt my own people, but because you have shown that humans think in ways that are unique. Perhaps together we could understand more." Elias blinked in surprise. "I would be honored, Princess. I have much to learn as well. And I hope in the process we can build trust and understanding between our peoples." The Queen's voice broke the silence. "You have done well, human. You have faced trials of mind, spirit, and morality. You have shown that even the most fragile can endure, and even the most unpredictable can bring insight. You have earned the respect of Zythera." Elias' chest swelled with a quiet pride. For the first time, he felt that humans were not defined only by their fragility, but by their courage, adaptability, and insight. He had faced impossible challenges and emerged not only alive but respected, a testament to the strength of his species in ways few could imagine. Lyra smiled, a rare and genuine expression of admiration. "I will remember this day," she said. "Humans are not to be underestimated. You have earned my respect, and perhaps in time more than that." Elias nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He had survived trials that tested every part of him, earned the respect of a civilization far older and wiser than his own, and forged a bond with the young princess that could shape the future. Queen Aerolith's voice carried over the garden, calm and steady. "Go now, human. Rest, recover, and reflect. You have done what few could. You have earned your place here not by power, but by courage, understanding, and insight. Remember this lesson, for it will serve you and your people well." Elias stood, taking a deep breath of the warm, fragrant air. The garden shimmered around him, a living testament to the beauty and complexity of Zythera. He had faced impossible challenges, confronted fears and doubts, and emerged stronger in ways he had never imagined. And he knew without a doubt that humans, fragile, unpredictable, and resourceful, had a place in the galaxy, not just as survivors, but as beings capable of great insight and courage. The twin suns finally disappeared below the horizon, leaving the garden bathed in soft twilight. Elias felt a calm resolve settle within him. The trials were over, but the journey was not. He had earned respect, forged bonds, and proven that humanity's strength lay not in brute force, but in courage, wisdom, and understanding. He was human, fragile, yet capable. And that was enough. The palace of Zythera rose like a crown of crystal in the twilight, its towers reflecting the last colors of the twin suns. Elias Arden walked through its grand halls, still feeling the energy of the trials vibrating faintly under his feet. He had survived challenges no human had ever faced, earned the respect of the Queen, and impressed Princess Lyra. Yet, as he moved through the halls, he realized that the greatest trial was not the challenges themselves. It was what came after. Recognition, responsibility, and the chance to leave a lasting impression. The palace chambers were vast and open, filled with crystalline light and humming energy. Beings of Zythera moved gracefully, their forms glowing softly in the ambient light. They had been watching Elias during his trials, and now whispers of admiration and curiosity followed him. He felt a mix of humility and pride. Humans were fragile, yes, but in the eyes of these powerful beings, his courage, insight, and adaptability had earned notice. Princess Lyra floated silently beside him, her eyes observing his every movement. "I never expected to see a human face the heart of Zythera," she said quietly, "and not just face it, but understand it. You have done what few could even imagine." Elias gave a small, respectful smile. "I have learned from it, Princess, and from you. Your people, your planet, everything here has taught me that strength is not just power. Strength is patience, understanding, and courage when facing the unknown." Lyra tilted her head, her glowing eyes reflecting his words. "You speak like someone who has seen much, yet you are only human. Humans are strange, fragile but clever, brave but cautious. You surprise me." Queen Aerolith appeared at the end of the hall, her presence commanding and serene. Her eyes glimmered with an unreadable light as she approached Elias. "You have returned from the Garden of Harmony, human, not broken, not frightened, but thoughtful and insightful. You have completed the trials of mind, spirit, and morality. Few beings, even among my people, could endure so fully." Elias bowed. "I am honored, Your Majesty. I have tried only to act wisely, respectfully, and with understanding. I am grateful for the chance to demonstrate that humans are more than they appear." Aerolith studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Your actions have proven the truth of your words. You are fragile yet resilient. You are unpredictable yet capable of insight. You have earned the respect of Zythera, and that respect comes not from what you can destroy, but from what you can understand and preserve." Elias felt a warmth of pride, though tempered with humility. He had come to Zythera as an explorer, curious but cautious, unsure of what he might face. He had expected danger, perhaps conflict, and the possibility of failure. But what he had found was something greater, the opportunity to show that humans, though not the strongest, could survive and even earn respect through courage, wisdom, and empathy. Lyra floated closer, her glowing eyes full of curiosity. "I have watched you, human, through every trial, and I have learned something from you. That courage is not always loud, that strength is not always visible, and that insight is more powerful than raw power." Elias nodded. "I have learned much as well, Princess. About your people, your planet, and the way life can thrive when respect and understanding guide action. I hope this can be the start of something greater between humans and Zythera." Aerolith's expression softened slightly. "Perhaps it can. You have proven that humanity possesses qualities that even the powerful sometimes overlook. It is rare that a species shows such insight and courage. You have done more than survive. You have left a mark on Zythera itself." Elias felt a mixture of relief and pride. The trials were over, but their significance reached beyond himself. He had proven that humans could be more than fragile beings. They could think, adapt, and act in ways that others might not anticipate. And in doing so, he had earned not only survival but respect. The queen gestured toward a crystalline pedestal in the center of the hall. On it rested a glowing crystal, pulsating with warm, golden light. "This is the heartstone of Zythera," she said. "It is a symbol of respect, connection, and understanding between our peoples. It is a gift given to those who have proven themselves worthy through courage, insight, and wisdom. Today, it is yours." Elias approached the pedestal carefully. The crystal's light seemed to resonate with his presence, as if acknowledging him personally. He reached out, holding it gently in his hands. Its warmth spread through him, a quiet reminder of the journey he had completed and the lessons he had learned. Lyra watched him, her expression reflecting awe. "You have earned it, human. Not because you were the strongest, but because you understood. You are worthy." Elias held the crystal with respect. "Thank you, Princess. I will honor it and the lessons it represents always." The queen nodded, her voice steady. "You have done well. This moment is not the end, but a beginning. You have proven that even fragile species can rise to greatness through courage, empathy, and understanding. Remember this, human. It will serve you and your people well." Elias bowed deeply. "I will, Your Majesty. I will never forget this day or the lessons I have learned here." Lyra floated closer, her glowing eyes bright. "Perhaps one day your people and mine can work together, human." You have shown that humans are more than they appear and that insight and courage can shape the future. I want to see what we can achieve together." Elias smiled. "I hope so, Princess, I hope so. Humans can be unpredictable, yes, but in ways that can create understanding, cooperation, and progress. Perhaps this is just the beginning." The Queen's voice echoed softly through the hall. "Go now, human. Rest, recover, and reflect on what you have learned. You have faced the impossible, shown courage and insight, and earned your place among us. Remember that strength comes not from power alone, but from understanding, compassion, and courage. You have proven this today." Elias carefully placed the heartstone in a secure holder, feeling its energy resonate with his own sense of purpose. For the first time, he realized that his journey had been more than survival. It had been a test of humanity itself. His species was fragile, yes, but capable of courage, insight, and compassion that even powerful civilizations could admire. Lyra watched him for a moment, then spoke again. "I will never forget you, human. You have shown me a new way of seeing strength. Perhaps one day, humans and Zytherans will walk together as allies, not just observers of one another." Elias nodded. "I hope that day comes soon, and if it does, I hope my people can live up to the trust you have shown me." The palace doors opened to the night sky of Zythera, the twin moons glowing faintly over the crystal landscape. Elias stepped outside, breathing deeply of the cool, fragrant air. He could feel the energy of the planet around him, calm and alive, and for the first time he felt a true connection, not just to Zythera, but to the greater potential of humanity. He had faced trials that tested every part of him: mind, courage, empathy, and understanding. He had confronted challenges that no human had ever seen and had emerged not just alive, but respected. And in doing so, he had shown that humans, fragile, resourceful, and unpredictable, could rise to challenges beyond imagination. Princess Lyra's voice called softly from behind him. "You have left a mark, human. You have shown that strength is more than power and that insight and courage can surpass fear and destruction. Remember this lesson as you return to your people." Elias turned, smiling. "I will. And I hope your people will remember it as well. Humans may be fragile, yes, but we are capable of much more than you might think." The Queen's voice followed, calm and steady. "Go with respect, human. You have earned it. And remember, humanity's greatest strength is not in its power, but in its courage, adaptability, and capacity for understanding. Carry this lesson and teach it to your people." Elias looked once more at the glowing palace, the crystal towers shimmering under the twin moons. He had come to Zythera as an explorer, unsure of what awaited him. He had faced fear, challenges, and the unknown, and he had emerged stronger, not in body, but in mind, spirit, and understanding. He turned to Lyra and Aerolith one last time. "Thank you for everything." Lyra's glowing eyes softened, a rare, genuine smile crossing her face. "You are welcome, human. May your courage and insight guide your people as much as it has guided you here." Queen Aerolith inclined her head. "Go now. And remember, the universe is vast, but strength comes from understanding, courage, and wisdom. Humans have shown that even the fragile can endure, and even the unpredictable can inspire." Elias took a final deep breath of the crystal air. He had earned respect, forged bonds, and proven the strength of humanity. The trials were over, but the journey, the true journey, was only beginning. As he walked away from the palace, the Heartstone secure, the twin moons casting silver light across the crystal plains, Elias Arden understood something profound. Humans were fragile, yes, but their courage, insight, and adaptability made them a force to be reckoned with. And in the galaxy of powerful civilizations, that force was not to be ignored. He looked at the horizon, where stars began to emerge in the night sky, and knew that the story of humanity and their potential was just beginning. Zythera had changed him, challenged him, and respected him. And in doing so, it had revealed a truth that humans themselves had yet to fully realize, that their greatest power lay not in strength or speed, but in their hearts and minds, capable of facing the impossible and emerging victorious. And so, Elias Arden continued his journey, carrying the lessons of Zythera, the respect of its queen and princess, and the proof that even the most fragile species could shine brightly in the face of the unknown. The galaxy awaited, and humanity, in all its unpredictability and courage, was ready.